UFC 329 Mcgregor versus Holloway 2 is about to go underway in like less than a half hour. I'm going to break down the fights, starting with the early prelim of Alessandro Costa versus Cody Durden. I'm going with Alessandro Costa. Big heavy power puncher Cody Durden, not doing all that well. Won against Jafel Filho, but I don't see him winning against Alessandro Costa, especially in this matchup. Uh, Next up, Ryan Gandra versus Zachary Reese. Gonna go with Ryan Gandra. Something tells me that Zachary Reese is chinny. I don't know if this is the same dude that got KO'd ground and pound style by, I think it was Michelle Pereira? Yeah, I don't think Zachary Reese is that good. I'm going with Ryan Gandra. Fareed Basharat versus John Garza. John Garza coming in place of Ethan Ewing, one of the most underrated bantamweight prospects. And instead, we're going to get John Garza going against Fareed Basharat. I'm going with Fareed Basharat. He's quite decent, but he's not all that. John Garza, however, not really had any fight in the UFC. I'm pretty sure this is his debut, and I don't think it's a good matchup. So I'm going with Fareed Basharat. Damian Pinas versus Cesar Almeida. I'm going with Damian Pinas. Quite a good athlete. Decent performance from what I remember in his last fight. Cesar Almeida, a decent middleweight, gritty guy. Almost got chinned against Abdul Razak Al Hassan. But I think Damian Pinas is getting this done. I don't rate Cesar Almeida all that much. So I'm going with Cesar Almeida. Then Luke Riley versus Kai Kamaka III. I'm going with Luke Riley. Kai Kamaka got a whatever win against Dakota Hope in his UFC return, but I'm not rating him all that well. Luke Riley, however, pretty decent England prospect. Had a rocky debut, or last fight that he had. But I think he is going to get past Kai Kamaka III. I don't really rate him all that much. He was quite decent in his last fight, but against a surging English prospect like Luke Riley, they usually get past these early guys, unless you're Charlie Campbell. In that case, you're terrible. Whoops. Well, this is who I'm picking anyways. Cody Garbrandt versus Adrian Yanez. Cody Garbrandt is not that guy anymore. There was a point where he was matrixing, flying out of punches against Dominic Cruz, doing decent against TJ Dillashaw. Why is it not coming up? Okay. But these days, Cody Garbrandt is not that good. He should have lost this fight against Zhao Long. The only way he won that fight was because of the few points that Zhao Long got taken after he tried to kill Cody Garbrandt's future chances of having children. But besides that, Cody Garbrandt really isn't that good. He was scarpering around the edge of the cage during that fight against Zhao Long. And I think Adrian Yanez is a tougher test, and I don't think it's going to be good for Cody Garbrandt. I don't think he's there anymore, but he will be there to get chinned. Gable Steveson versus Elisha Ellison. I'm going with Gable Steveson. Might not agree with the person he is. I don't know if it's true or not, but I mean, he's training with Diddy Bones Jones, so he should get past this guy. If not, he's just terrible. And he's one of the most stouted wrestlers upcoming. Then to the prelim headliner, Nikita Krylov versus Robert Whitaker. All right, a fight that I am actually super interested in. Robert Whitaker's debut in the light heavyweight division against Nikita Krylov. This is one of the best matchups he can make at light heavyweight for Robert Whitaker, in my opinion. This is a chinny guy who has power, but it's mostly reliant off of his unorthodox and athletic movements. Robert Whitaker coming in with lighter man skill, coming in thicker. He looks in great shape. I like that he took time off of the Reiner de Ritter fight and blew up to this size in light heavyweight. He's going to be way more skillful. He's going to be way faster. He's going to be defensively elusive. Robert Whitaker is that guy. He is a former champion, and he's been at that level for a while now. Nikita Krylov has been on and off in his career, has taken a lot of time off due to injury, has gotten KO'd by Dominic Reyes, has bounced back against Modestas Bukauskas, but Modestas isn't that good himself. We saw it against Brendan Allen. He's very basic. He doesn't have much output. And I'm taking Robert Whitaker. Bobby Knuckles might get a KO. Speaking of KOs, KO incoming. We have the classic El Clasico matchup between YN and Unk. And I'm going with the YN, Terrence McKinney. I feel like his flurry is going to be way too much for Bobby Green. And although Bobby Green really does have some power, he does have some slickness in his striking. Terrence McKinney is a guy that charges you, that just runs you over with his pressure and his flurries. Bobby Green doesn't rely on his counter-striking power, even though it could be there. He did it against Grant Dawson, but I don't think he gets it done here. I think McKinney's flurry is going to chin Bobby Green in the first round, probably. I don't think this gets past the first. But this is a crazy matchup. I think there's some good value on McKinney, if I'm going to be real. But McKinney has gotten slept out cold himself, so we'll see. Brandon Royval versus Loner Kavanagh. I'm going with Loner Kavanagh. Loner Kavanagh had a really good performance against, I believe it was Brandon Moreno? I believe so. Brandon Royval, however, he got KO'd by Manel Kape and took a tremendous beating from Joshua Van. Like, those wars, those finishes done on you, that takes a toll. Loner Kavanagh is coming in as the younger, as the fighter carrying the more momentum. I think Brandon Royval was at one point like I was super scared of this guy. I thought he was for sure going to become champ. I thought for sure he was going to just conquer this division at one point after he beat Tatsuro Taira. But he's really let it slip in his fights. And I think it's not going to be too good. This could be a vintage Brandon Royval. We must have forgot something. Like, we forgot. But I'm going with Loner Kavanagh just for momentum. Corey Sandhagen versus Mario Bautista. I'm going with Mario Bautista by decision. I feel like no matter what, this fight will go to decision. I don't see the finishing potential from either of these guys against each other. They're both pretty tough, and they both don't have the most power. And I think Mario Bautista is just... he looks in fantastic shape. He looks great in his last few fights. Even against Umar, he dropped Umar. He could have potentially finished him at that point. And he's... both of these guys super well-rounded, super great. But I'm going with Mario Bautista. Benoit Saint-Denis versus Paddy Pimblett. I am going with Paddy Pimblett. I have a bad feeling about this. Paddy's striking, his tendencies to leave his hands down and back away, but he has good distance management. Yeah, I think he has better distance management than Benoit. I think he has better grappling than Benoit. But I don't know if he'll be able to trip Benoit like how Moicano did, get him down early, get damage off. I don't know if he'll be able to do that, but I think so. I really do think so. Paddy Pimblett's grappling is A1. Like, he's amazing in the grappling. Um, Man, it's a tough one. It's a tough one, but I am going with Patty. Benoit has shown lots of sloppiness, lots of chances to get chinned. Anyways, so the main event, the return of the Mac, Conor McGregor versus Max Holloway 2. It's not gonna happen, right? Like, Strickland winning, Justin Gaethje winning, now Conor? No way, right? Right? This has been the year of the upsets. And while that might lead a lot of people to believe that Conor will beat Max Holloway, I can't, in good faith, predict that to happen. I'm sorry, but you left the cage for half a decade and you expect to come back and beat one of the most technically gifted and just one of the best fighters of our generation who has still been active, who has still been actively competing against the best in the world. Conor, on the other hand, has been battling stuff like cocaine addiction and legal cases. He hasn't been in the gym constantly worried about the next guy to take his spot or the grind to the title. No, he's only been worried about that for the last maybe year or so. I don't know. I don't know where his head's at in the game. And that's something that Conor really relied on, was his mentality, his momentum. I used to think that Conor told nothing but the truth, but at the press conference that they had, it's hard to believe the words that come out of Conor's mouth. It seems like he's trying to have that same persona as when he was coming up, and the shit talking, I'm gonna sun you, Max, I'm gonna do this. What happened in the first fight? You left in a wheelchair, all this stuff. But, man, I don't think the fairy tale is written, man. Like, the MMA gods have been too cruel in so many times. I don't think this one gets past them. I think Max Holloway taking lighter man skill while still being like taller than Conor, I think it's going to do wonders for Max. He doesn't have to cut really any weight. He doesn't have to worry about that. He just has to worry about maybe the first round or two. And he has to worry about just being himself. Like, and as long as he is himself, he beats Conor in this. Just straight up. But that's it. UFC 329. I'm so excited for this. This looks like a great card. Man, I can't wait.